Welcome from Steve Brooke, your teaching pastor, neighborhood pastor, Facebook friend. I have other titles as well. Some even know me as Pastor Bon Jovi, right? And because throughout the years, whether I had long hair or short hair, people have often picked up on the similarities between our facial structures. There's me with long hair, there's John with long hair. Me with short, him with short, me with short, him with short. And, you know, there's some similarities there that people pick up on between me and my twin brother, John. And so sometimes out in public, people actually will think that I am him. Sometimes I will even go along with it. One time I even tried to get backstage at a U2 concert with the look, right? But just like the bouncer at that concert did, people usually do the math of the situation at hand and realize, of course he's not really him, right? So, and even so, though, a lot of times they'll want a picture with me to see if they can fool their friends. My neighbors even, brought it up so much that for the past 2 Halloweens, I just come out at in the evening with my guitar on, and they all just say, "Hey, it's Bon Jovi." And by the end of the evening, I'll have the whole cul-de-sac singing, "Whoa, we're halfway there. Whoa, living on a prayer, living on a prayer." Yeah, that kind of thing, right? So just lots of fun having a celebrity twin. And speaking of fun, how did you like my blue jacket last week? I've got it right up here. Wasn't that nice? Yeah, it was pretty bright, and but I got to give you the backstory on this coat. See, on New Year's Day, Renee won the raffle from the Florida Theater, which included 2 seats, way up front, mind you, to every show of 2017. Of which they often have like 2 to 3, 4 shows a week. So if she's got this luck about her, she's lucky enough to win them. I've got this cheapness about me that I'm cheap enough to see each ticket as cash, and I make sure we use them, right? So a few times a week, she's my sugar mama, I'm her hot date, right? So that's just the way it goes down. Well, when I saw on Facebook that Pat and Teresa Boland from church had bought tickets to see Derek and Julianne Hough of Dancing with the Stars perform there at the Florida Theater on first Friday night in May, and I knew we would be there as well. I told him, hey, we should go get dinner before the show. And now Pat was into it. He reserved a table at the restaurant next door to the theater. Now Pat, he was like really into it. See, Pat loves his Miami Vice jacket look, right? And so he ordered me a blue jacket and told me I had to wear it to dinner and the show. So it's Friday night. I walk into the restaurant, this buffet line Italian place right next to the theater. Walk in with my blue jacket, my shades are still on, and from across the restaurant, I hear his voice before I even see him, but there's Pat in his pink jacket and his bling on, and he's calling out, "Crockett, over here, we got a table for you," right? So Renee and I joined Tubbs and Teresa for an awesome dinner before an amazing show. But that's still not even the end of the story. Before we order dinner, a security person from the theater happens to be eating in the same spot. And he comes over and he sheepishly asks, "Excuse me, sir, are you who I think that you are?" I smiled and I said, "John, I didn't say I was. I didn't say I wasn't. I just asked, John?" And with that name, he said, "Yes. Oh, man, I totally loved your show. It was the best show ever. I mean, I've even been to your hometown." You know, I'm like, whoa. At this point, I realized he really thought that I was John. right? And so with the heart of compassion that I have, I had to interrupt. I said, oh, you were in Jersey. And I just let him keep going and going with this thing. I'm so bad. I'm such a bad person, right? And he told me about the intersection that he visited near John's place in New Jersey and about the show. And by that point, I didn't have the heart to tell him that I wasn't John, right? He asked for a picture with me, so I gave his camera to Pat and Teresa, whose jaws are hanging open by now, that all this is going down right in front of their wide as saucer eyes, right? They take the picture with this guy's phone. And then the guy thanks me for the privilege. And he goes back to his table where he's going to town on his phone, posting his big moment and whispering to everybody else in the place, all right, that's how much you know what that is, right? He came back a little bit later, and I thought, well, he figured me out, right? He did the math and figured that it wasn't me. No, he brought a friend. Get a picture too. This time, it's not just his camera we're taking pictures with. Pat and Teresa and Renee, they're taking pictures with their phones too, just to get evidence of this moment on film. Well, after dinner, while Crockett and Tubbs and their ladies were heading out, Pat said that he could see people looking and pointing and hear people whispering, hey, I think that's him. And we headed over to the theater, pulled out our tickets, and we stood in line, and said hi to the security guy again and headed in for a great show, put on like real performers, not imitator lookalikes, but actual talent, Derek and Julianne Hough. It was a great night. It was a hilarious night. And what was even more hilarious, or maybe even a little demented, was that, I'm going to be honest with you, with so many eyes on me that night in the restaurant, even over into the theater, I found myself just walking a little taller. I found myself just smiling the pearly whites all the more brightly, I just was more magnanimous with the staff. And I was just, treating people better than I would normally treat them. Why? All because I'm not me, and I'm John. And I don't want people to think, darling, you give John a bad name, right? I know all of you under 20 are like, I don't even get the reference. See, one of Bon Jovi's most famous songs was, you give love a bad name, right? So, today we're going to try to give love a good name by diving into the love chapter in 1 Corinthians 13. So go ahead and open your Bibles there, where Paul is going to school us on the math of love. The math of love. See, that whole night, I kept waiting for that guy to do the obvious math that I thought should have been in his head, that John Bon Jovi would not be eating at an Italian buffet line dive in downtown Jacksonville with Pat and Teresa on a Friday night with no bodyguards, going through the front doors of a theater to see a dance show. No offense, Derek and Julianne, right? It just doesn't add up. See, sometimes you just got to look around and do the math. Paul is going to have us look around this world, this life, and everything important, and do the math for you. The math of love. Paul says, look, if I speak in the fancy, eloquent tongues of men, or even the spiritual, miraculous tongues of angels, but I subtract, I don't have, I take away love, I am only a noisy, resounding gong, a brash, clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy, being able to speak God's word forth, in boldness, and I can fathom all the mysteries that we wonder about and all knowledge that we long for, and if I have this amazing, heroic faith that can move mountains, but I subtract, I don't have love, I am nothing. I'm zero. If I give all I possess to the poor, what a good guy he is. And I give over my body to hardship, what a noble dude. That I may boast of the greatest sacrifices one can ever make. But I do not have love, I gain nothing. Zero, zilch, nada, nothing. You see the math of love that Paul is putting up on the chalkboard in the classroom of our lives. It's as easy as adding and subtracting. As easy as these two formulas that might be helpful to you. Everything minus love equals nothing. And nothing plus love equals everything. So you can have all the moves of Derek and Julianne Hough, all the looks of John Bon Jovi, or all the faith of Paul himself. But if you can't love God with your heart and your soul and your mind and your strength, if you can't love other people around you, if you can't love yourself, then you in reality, you got nothing in life. Nada, zippo, zilch, zero. But even if you feel like you've got nothing in life, nothing to contribute to God, to others, even to your own life, but you can muster up love for God, love for people, love for yourself, then you've got everything that you need and more. The important stuff of life. So do the math. Don't subtract your love from God. Don't steal it away from others. Don't take it away from yourself. But rather add love into your everyday, into your every situation, into your everything. Even when all you got seems like nothing, add love into your nothing and you'll have everything that you need and more. Jesus said that people will know that he is real and that you who follow him really belong to him and will want to also belong to him as well because of this, by how you as believers love one another, care for one another, growing stronger together, serving one another, and alongside each other.